Welcome everyone. This is a special Fireside chat. Super excited. We're going to be talking with the folks at Amazon Freight Partner. And big thing today going to be, of course, innovation across the middle mile, which is, it's very important. A lot of companies, especially in the middle mile segment, it can make or break your operational efficiency, and you need to have the right people and the right plans. Super excited to be welcoming Kristen LeBlanc. She's head of marketing and acquisition at Amazon Freight Partner. And starting out, tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience.
Sure, and thank you, Thomas, for having me here today. So I've been at Amazon about 8.5 years, and in Amazon Freight Partner the last 3. So we call Amazon Freight Partner, a lot of folks will refer to as AFP. So if you hear me say that, that is we love our acronyms at Amazon, Essentially, Amazon Freight Partner is a collection of small business entrepreneurs who have started and grown their trucking companies alongside Amazon. What we do is we hand off the tractors and we provide the maintenance and the fuel and a lot of other services to these partners, and they need to hire their drivers and execute the work that we provide to them. So I can talk a little bit about the history of the program if that's helpful. Starting kind of way back in 2012, we used to pick, pack, and package all those customer packages and hand them off to larger third-party carriers, just a handful of them. Many of them we still work with today. But what we started doing is looking at the customer. We always look at the customer and we work backwards from that. Customers want high quality, they want low cost, they want fast service. So with that, we realized we really needed to diversify our transportation system and provide more consistent service for our customers. So with that, we've launched, since expanded into air and rail and what we call the last mile business, which is customer delivery to doorsteps, and programs like the Amazon Freight Partner program. So we started it in 2020, right before the pandemic, with 13 partners in 2 countries and just about 100 drivers, and they hauled about 2,500 loads in that year.
Wow.
Fast forward to now, we are we're in 7 countries with over 300 partners. They're employing 7,000 drivers, just over 7,000 drivers, and we've hauled 3 million loads to date this year alone.
That's the equivalent of a large nationwide carrier within the owned system. And I think that's really cool because looking at the Freight Partner model, typically everyone starts on their own. They don't get help. You get an owner-operator, a mom and pop, and there's not a lot of, other than, hey, please sign this line, try to find some freight. There's not a lot of help. So let's talk about, as you're approaching folks and people who are interested in this, what are some of the big selling points to this model compared to our traditional way, which is a very Hobbesian state of affairs?
Yeah, so we decided to build this model scaling through entrepreneurs, and Amazon, we pride ourselves in being able to empower entrepreneurs. They operate in their local communities, and that benefits us as well because they can serve within their local communities. They know it best, so it benefits us for that reason. We've also seen a lot of folks are familiar with the last mile delivery. There's Delivery Service Partners, DSP, where the blue vans are delivering directly to customer doorsteps, and we've seen that model work really well at Amazon and has scaled to, I think they have over 3,000 partners doing that now within that program.
So 3,000 doing the door, that's quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to look at, speaking of the growth model, because we talk about in the industry the boom and bust cycle, but having that amazing sustainable growth model and having the opportunities. Let's dive into that first. Like, what was one of the biggest things that you all saw that kind of knew you were onto something as you were rolling out the program, getting the feedback? Was there an aha moment, or were folks just like, hey, I'm suddenly getting these resources, let's go?
Yeah, aha moment. Well, we started right before the pandemic. So if there was a time, it was when the online sales were surging and we just couldn't roll out tractors fast enough. But
yeah,
I could talk about how we were able to kind of fuel that growth a little bit over that time. And so I kind of attribute that to the model that I talked about with kind of working with these small businesses and helping them grow up through the program. But also we can talk customer obsession and our model around customer obsession, and our technology has helped the growth as well. So For customer obsession, Amazon focuses on the customer. It's one of our very core values. For me, our customers are partners and the drivers that they employ, and we've launched a lot of different feedback mechanisms. You mentioned getting the feedback and iterating, and that's kind of what what I feel like has contributed to a lot of the growth, because these partners are out in their communities, they're on the ground, they know what's happening, they tell us what's happening, and we use that as input into the decisions that we're making in the program. And then from a technology perspective, Amazon built Amazon Relay, which is where carriers, third-party carriers, can book and find work. But what makes it unique is that it's stitching together all of these different routings and locations and all of that, so that it takes away the complexity for the carrier. So people who don't necessarily want to have to deal with all of that can easily execute through Amazon Relay, and Amazon Freight Partner uses Relay for our work. And partners can essentially just focus on execution and delivering safely within the network.
Well, I think that's really cool, especially looking at probably fueling the growth. Amazon has such large amounts of volumes, and having that access, the partnership program is a great way for folks to get in who typically would not be able to see, like a Home Depot or a Fortune 50 shipper is normally not allowing access for smaller fleets, and having this method and this ability to get access. Looking at the technology as well, I think that's really interesting. Amazon Relay Network, and they're able to plug in, play, and plug into that. When you're getting the feedback, is it kind of one of those positive feedback loops? Because I know from some larger fleets, it can be really difficult to get actual driver feedback. So is that one of the things that may have helped with the growth model, is quickly reacting to the drivers as they're testing it?
Yeah, definitely. We've launched a lot of different feedback mechanisms, and one of them is directly to drivers, even though they work for the Amazon Freight Partner companies themselves. We have pop-ups that come into the Relay for Driver tool that, like, they're in that all day, and we have a lot of ways of gathering that feedback, and then we take it, test, learn, and make it better.
So looking at next steps, looking at focus as well for what's next for Amazon Freight Partner. I know you mentioned multimodal. What are you all looking at as you're moving and this program is developing and maturing?
Yeah, so I can touch on probably a couple things for growth and next steps within the program. Safety is always our top priority at Amazon. So earlier this year, we announced $200 million investment in the safety network, or safety tech across the entire Amazon transportation network. And that benefits Amazon Freight Partner because we are a beneficiary of those investments. There's investment in route planning and predictive analytics to be able to monitor the safety of our fleet. We've also invested in vehicle equipment, such as automatic emergency braking, front collision warning, lane departure warnings, side object detection, and speed limiters. So we're going to continue to invest in safety through technology and other training programs. So wanted to just share that, as far as, like, it's always on the horizon for us. It's a big priority. But as far as you mentioned growth and kind of how we're thinking about these other multimodal, so we, in the program, we started originally in day cabs. So we deployed day cabs to our partners. They could schedule their drivers to be able to come home within the same day after every shift. So that was very popular. We grew that program primarily that way. And then last year, we started expanding by deploying sleeper cabs, which allows access to additional routing and capabilities, longer routes, overnight, for example. And then this year, in the last few months, actually, we just started rolling out rail. So partners will go to rail, into rail yards, pick up shipping containers, and bring them back and forth with the Amazon facilities. And this is beneficial for the partners because we work with entrepreneurs. They want to grow. They tell us they want to grow, yeah. And it's beneficial for Amazon because it gets us more, essentially more capacity in these ways.
That's really cool, especially the expansion, because it does feel very natural and progressive. You usually have your day cabs for your smaller segments. Once you get that, you can expand out. I'm excited for intermodal. Random question: is there any air cargo yet? We're going to pull them off the planes and send it? Not yet, but we're always looking around new ways to grow. So. I'm looking forward to it as well. Looking at innovation and adapting, kind of moving into our next topic here. There's been a lot of innovation in the space. You know, being at F3, we're talking about freight technology in addition to the industry, but How is Amazon viewing that and adapting to it? Because it does feel like over the past 3 years, you've got some really awesome opportunities, but even with COVID, pandemic, consumer changes, it was a lot of also challenges to kind of find creative solutions for.
Yeah. So we have this saying at Amazon, we say it's always day one, which means like no matter what day it is, it's still day one. And this day one mentality is both an operating model and a culture. And it allows us to test a lot and learn and fail quickly, but iterate and drives a lot of innovation. So that's kind of how we think about innovating in Amazon. But within the Amazon Freight Partner Program, we run a lot of pilots. So we've probably run like several dozens of pilots since the program has started. Some have launched, some have not. But I can talk about a couple of pilots and things we're doing to help the Amazon system overall. So we have, I mentioned safety is a top priority. We go through pilots for a lot of the safety tech that we roll out. For example, cameras or sensors or new equipment or software changes or training. And one of the things that we're piloting now is called Mirai. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's they actually remove the side mirrors, the external mirrors on the cab, and they replace it with screens inside the cab using camera technology outside. And the benefit there is it gives way more visibility for the driver, and with the hope of reducing accidents over time.
You're taking the mirrors from the sides, and now it's a display end over end. That is really cool.
Yeah.
Also for a note, the most common thing that gets taken out are mirrors and truck stops, and so there's a double opportunity here.
Extra benefit.
Yeah, there's a double benefit. I love the safety aspect because a lot of these smaller carriers and fleets, without the help of a partner program, cannot afford to have these things. So it is a net win as well for folks on the roadway, because if you're partnered with Amazon, you're able to actually have that. I've seen a lot of times where we interview people, and that's their biggest challenge. They're like, well, we'd love to help these fleets, but no one can afford this stuff. There's some really cool, exciting things that you're working on. I like the end-over-end safety one as well, because especially on the roadway, quality of life, that's a big deal. What other things are you pretty excited about, or anything in the pipeline that, as you're growing this program, that you're most looking forward to?
Yeah, I might touch on a couple if that's okay. Yeah. So our initiatives in sustainability is a pretty exciting one looking out into the future. Amazon and Global Optimism co-founded the Climate Pledge in 2019, which is to be net carbon neutral by 2040, 10 years ahead of the Paris Agreement. So we're doing a lot of testing with alternative fuels. So that'll be exciting to see in the future. And then for me personally, what I'm most excited about is the work that we do with diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, so what we call DEI and B. It's been a core to the program since the very beginning of when I joined into the Amazon Freight Partner Program. And I have a few stats I wanted to share, because I think the work is starting to pay off. We had about 30% of our Amazon Freight Partner businesses are owned by women, and 46% are Black-owned. And when we typically see, and I've seen in organizations in larger companies and in smaller companies as well, is when you have diversity in leadership, you tend to attract more diverse employee bases and folks into your organization. And we recently got some stats on the driver bases that our partners employ, and we saw that women make up for 12%, which is compared to 7% CDL in the industry.
Wow.
And then we have more than double the Black drivers at 30% compared to only 12% in the industry. So we're seeing all these initiatives pay off. We're continuing to look at where we can reduce barriers. We do that through an accelerator program, for example, where folks who want to join and come into this industry and maybe know nothing about trucking can go through this 10-week course, and at the end launch their business and operate with Amazon, and like that's one of the examples that where we're trying to reduce those barriers out there. So.
Well, that brings us to our final question here. If folks are interested in getting more information on Amazon Freight Partner, or becoming a freight partner, what's the best way to get in contact and learn more?
Sure. Well, if you're here, please visit our booth down the hall there. But freightpartner.amazon.com is our website, and that would be great. And then if you're also here today, my colleague Rebecca Salt will be speaking on the keynote stage later at 2:50 p.m. So
Perfect. Keep an eye out. Kristen, thank you so much for your time. Amazing chat as well. Loving the stuff y'all are working on. Looking forward to hearing next year what y'all are coming up with as you're growing the program.
Yes. Thank you for your time, Thomas. Appreciate it.